Right after Halloween ends, the holiday season begins. The engines are extra busy during this time of the year. Freight and passenger trains get longer and heavier. Extra trains are also run to accommodate for the extra passengers and freight. One day, Christen was pulling a passenger train with a lot of head-end equipment and a lot of passenger cars behind them. At Spring Valley Station, he saw Amber in a sighting. She was clearing leaves from the tracks were her vegetation control cars. It must be nice to have an easy job, snorted Christen. Are you referring to me? Amber asked. Yes, I am, Christen replied. All you have to do is pull those 3 cars around. You don't have to worry about silly freight cars causing issues and passengers and coaches complaining. Clearing leaves off the tracks isn't as easy as it looks, Amber explained. She felt pretty offended. Christen thought Amber was just exaggerating. How about you let me clear the leaves tomorrow and you help out on the main line? Are you sure you want to do this, Christen? Amber asked. Yes, I'm sure, Christen replied confidently. Okay, said Amber, it's done. Suit yourself. And she rumbled out of her siding. Christen laughed. He thought he had won. Early the next morning, Christen went to the maintenance yard and collected the vegetation control cars. Once he was coupled and the brakes tested, he headed out onto the main line. Christen went speeding down the main line. Water shot everywhere from the vegetation control car. I don't know what Amber was talking about, he said to himself. This job is easy. There's no one complaining, and these freight cars aren't silly. But what Christen didn't realize was his high speed wasn't cleaning the tracks efficiently. Later that day, Jihad was dropping off scrap at the steelworks. It was his only job that day, and he was eager to head home, and so was his driver. Driver, groaned Jihad, could you please call dispatch to see if it's okay for us to leave? I'll call them now, Jihad's driver said. The dispatcher in the signal tower picked up the phone. Can we leave now? Jihad's driver asked. You can leave after Bullet's passenger train passes by, the dispatcher told him. Jihad's driver was so keen to leave that he didn't hear the last part. All he heard was they could leave. He gave Jihad's fireman a thumbs up, and he threw the switch for the main line, and began walking back to the other switch so Jihad could get to that track. While he was walking back, however, Bullet came through. Bullet always slowed down near the steelworks because Otisville was the last station just beyond it. When Bullet looked ahead, he saw with horror the red light for the misaligned switch. We're live for the steelworks! We're live for the steelworks! Shouted Bullet. Stop! 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 Please! His driver applied the brakes, but because of the oil and leaves on the tracks, all they did was skid. Much to Bullet's horror, he swerved off the main line, narrowly missing Jihad by inches. Bullet rolled deeper and deeper into the steelworks. Just ahead was Ross, returning from the tip with some empty hot metal cars. Look out, Ross! Shouted Bullet. Ross and his crew was taken completely by surprise. They tried to throw Ross into reverse, but it was too late. Bullet had thankfully came to a stop, just inches from Ross. Both engines had to catch their breath. Sorry, Ross, Bullet sighed. I didn't mean to take such a detour. I'm just thankful you stopped, panicked Ross. When everything got back to Miss Caldwell, she called for an immediate investigation. Jihad and his crew were reprimanded for not listening to the dispatcher's instructions. The dispatcher was reprimanded also for not wording the instructions correctly. Also, the fact that Bullet was able to slide so far was also taken into consideration, and it was discovered the tracks weren't cleaned properly. This led Miss Caldwell all the way back to Christen. "I'm very disappointed in you," Miss Caldwell said furiously to Christen. "I'm sorry, Miss Caldwell," apologized Christen, "but I thought clearing the tracks at a fast speed would get the job done quicker. Amber goes slow to get it done efficiently," Miss Caldwell continued. "As you can see from today's events." Christen's punishment was severe. Miss Caldwell ordered him to spend the entire night clearing the tracks carefully. The next morning, as the sun rose across the rail yards, Amber came down the main line to find a very tired Christen. "Good morning, Christen," Amber said softly. "Amber," mumbled Christen in a hoarse voice, "I'm sorry. Really, I am. I messed up very badly. You're right. Your job isn't easy, and it's also very essential." "All is forgiven," smiled Amber, and she looked at the rails. "You know, Christen, you did a really good job last night." "Christen? Christen?" Amber looked over and realized that Christen had fallen fast asleep. Amber just chuckled to herself. She placed Christen gently in a siding and then recoupled on to the cleaning cars, and then, ever so quietly, made her way back to the yards.